All right, everybody, what's going on? It's Thundershot, and I am here with...
Hey guys, it's Mike here from Laughing Stock Media. How's it going?
All right, and we're going to talk about Money in the Bank. Now, for those of you guys who were regulars on my channel, you'll know I used to talk about every pay-per-view after it happened. I would come and give my thoughts on Raw, where I think they should go, all the matches, things like that. Kind of a recap in general, and then kind of input my thoughts. I haven't done one in a while, mainly because I would watch it too late, and it would be too long ago for me to make one on it, but I got to jump on Money in the Bank, and I hope to start making these a regular thing again. And I have Mike here to help me out because Mike is actually one of my subscribers. He's also a huge wrestling fan. We've talked on a couple different occasions about wrestling, and we've even made a video or two together. But obviously the topic at hand today is Money in the Bank. We're going to go down the list of all the matches and kind of say what we thought about them, how we thought about Money in the Bank as a whole, maybe at the end, and we'll let you know. But anyways, let's go ahead and start. To kick it off here, they did the Dusty Rhodes tribute, which is practically mandatory. Dusty Rhodes, huge legend. Didn't expect, I mean, you never expect him to go like that. Didn't expect him to go like that, but they did pay tribute to Dusty Rhodes, of course. They had some good videos. They did a follow-up on on Raw about that, and then I haven't seen it yet, but there is the WWE tribute to him on the WWE Network right now. Did you see the tribute?
Yes, I did. It was a kind of a combination of an old Dusty Rhodes documentary and new interviews from people, and it was really heartfelt. It was great.
Okay, would you recommend I go check that out then?
Oh yeah, I would definitely say check it out. I mean, if you've seen the old documentary, it's, it kind of retreads a lot of the same ground. It has old interviews from him, but I mean, there's certainly some really heartfelt new interviews. There's some footage from him in NXT, and there's an interview with Flair, which is really great.
How long is it, would you say?
About an hour, I believe.
Okay, yeah, I get down with that. All right, let's move on here. First match of the night, they opened strong. Quotation marks, because we thought it was going to be, but they open with the Money in the Bank Championship, or the WWE Championship, Money in the Bank contract, I should say. The Money in the Bank match, what the pay-per-view is about. Randy Orton, Neville, Kane, Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston, randomly, Sheamus, and Roman Reigns, okay? And they had, overall, just a very, for a 6-man, 7-man ladder match, to me, it was lackluster. Like, when I think what a ladder match should be, a lot of it goes off of, like WrestleMania's Intercontinental Battle wasn't a bad match. Harper power bombs Ambrose to the outside through the ladder. That was good stuff. There could definitely be more than what was in that WrestleMania match, but there was none of that in this match. Like, I'm trying to think of a few moments that stick out other than Roman kind of running train on everyone near the end of the match. Yeah.
Well, there was also that spot with Roman Reigns where he power bombed Kofi Kingston onto the ladder that was set up in the corner, and then he power bombed, I believe it was Neville on top of Kofi Kingston, and I thought that was a pretty awesome thing. But Roman tended to have all the best spots in the match.
Yeah, the power and all that stuff is cool, being creative and innovative with the ladders. But when you break out the ladder, especially when you got guys like Kofi and Neville in there, let them go crazy. Like, I want to see some off the top stuff. Like, I mean, I want, like, Neville hit a red arrow from the top of the ladder or something like that. That would be incredible. You know what I mean? But they have the potential there to do cool stuff with these big, crazy ladder matches, and they just didn't do anything with it. And I don't know, like, at first when they put Kofi in the match, because I really did not understand at all why Kofi Kingston was in this match. But then I thought about, okay, they're going to have to do, like, they put him in every Royal Rumble, they put him in every Battle Royal, so he can have one cool spot where he almost falls out, but he somehow manages to get back into the ring without breaking the rules. I thought for sure they were going to have some kind of crazy ladder spot with Kofi. Maybe Kofi's the guy taking the big hit or doing something awesome off the top or getting some insane air, jumping over a ladder, whatever. But they didn't do any of that, so that was kind of lackluster. And then on top of that, I almost feel like I need a separate entire category to talk about how upset I am with what they're doing with Roman. But on top of that, Roman gets all the cool spots, which whatever. He kicks New Day when he does that side kick on the apron. He jumps out from the ring, lands on top of everyone. He goes in, he's going to climb the ladder. Nothing's going to stop him. And then for some fucking reason, Bray Wyatt comes out and does Bray Wyatt stuff, ruins it. Sheamus climbs the ladder. Sheamus wins the match. Now, if anybody other than Reigns was going to win this, I honestly, my number one thing is I was hoping it was not Orton. Above everything else, I was hoping it was not Orton, mainly because that seems like the most boring thing in the world again. Like, they've done Orton and Rollins enough already, and Orton just isn't it right now, at least not for me. What are your thoughts about the match? I've rambled too long.
I completely agree with everything you've just said, especially about Orton. I mean, Orton being in the match for me was kind of more disappointing than having Kofi in there. I kind of thought it might have been fun if Kofi actually won the Money in the Bank. He doesn't necessarily have to keep it. Somebody can eventually beat him for it, like while the New Day is trying to keep that, saying, oh, we all can become the WWE champion, kind of like when they had the tag team championships, were doing the Freebird rule and everything. But, like, I absolutely agree about the finish. I thought the finish was terrible. I mean, I thought for sure they were going to let Roman win. And then, of course, Bray Wyatt, the essential cockblocker at this point for everyone's feud, comes in.
Everyone ever, yeah.
I don't understand what they're doing with Bray Wyatt. Ever since his feud with The Undertaker, which also came out of nowhere, and maybe he could have won and actually established himself even better, but of course we knew that wasn't going to happen the second Undertaker came out looking amazing, way better than he did last year. The second that he lost there, he's just been shoved into feuds. It's kind of like they leave him out when they actually set up all the booking, and then they just stick him into random feuds, like with Ryback and now with
I would say
Reigns.
even before that, you got to remember back when Ambrose and Seth Rollins, remember right after the Shield broke up, Ambrose would come out every week and beat the crap out of Seth Rollins, and then finally after enough weeks, they finally got to have their Hell in a Cell match, and we never even got closure to that, for that matter. I mean, I guess with the ladder match that we'll talk about later, we got closure finally, whatever, but...
yeah, it doesn't make any sense, and it's just like I really don't understand what they're doing. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, he doesn't have to make sense. His character is just rambling and stuff. But at least with Undertaker, when he's this insane monster demon from another world, they explain why he wants to fight this person or that person. Bray Wyatt just comes out, attacks somebody, and then rambles, and there's no explanation given at all.
And even if you're taking that crazy angle, you can almost take a Mick Foley, a Mankind angle or something like that, but just give him something. I want to make something clear. I talked smack about Kofi even being in the match in general, what are his odds of winning, whatever. He was just there for a high spot. I would like to point out, I actually really, really, really like Kofi Kingston, have for years. I can't say I'm 100% down with New Day, and I hate that ever since he had, he was one of the top guys. I hate that ever since he had that quarrel where Orton got mad at him in the ring, they haven't done anything with him.
Yeah.
But me saying why is he in this match is they're not going to do anything with him. At least he will not be able to shine by himself again until he gets away from New Day, which I hope happens eventually. But yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of hard to talk about because the fact that I think New Day definitely seems like they're pretty hot right now. I mean, the gimmick originally was pretty terrible with the whole church choir kind of thing, and it just seemed like another stereotype they were inserting an all-black team into. But nowadays, it kind of seems like at least they're over and their talent is kind of shining, and it's something that we've wanted to see for a while as Kofi as a heel. But yeah, I mean, Kofi is never really going to break out on his own until he completely changes his attitude. And I kind of feel like that might actually be coming, considering with Xavier Woods, he kind of seemed like he was right about to snap during his promo on Raw, but I guess that's something we'll save for later.
Yeah, we'll have to take on that one. All right, we've been rambling about this match way too long already. There's so many elements to this match that came off. Yes. But no, bottom line, Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns, and when I heard Bray Wyatt's stupid music hit when Reigns was climbing the ladder, I knew right away, it's not necessarily that Bray Wyatt and Reigns are going to feud, whatever. It's that because of what, like you were talking about earlier, what Bray Wyatt has become, I just know Reigns is going to be useless for the next month. The next pay-per-view isn't until 5 weeks from now. Reigns is going to be completely useless, coming out, cutting a promo, him and Wyatt not fighting, him and Wyatt maybe scrambling, and then Reigns is going to beat Wyatt at the pay-per-view. And that's going to be it. And then maybe they go another month after that. Or whatever, but it solidified in my brain that Reigns is actually, he has to be entirely useless until Lesnar comes back, and then after Lesnar comes back, which we'll probably talk about later, he will be, he'll finally be able to be something and go for the World Heavyweight title again. He took a back seat when he was letting Dean go in. He was helping out Dean do all this title shenanigans and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then they throw him a Money in the Bank match. You think, okay, finally Reigns can win this thing. Reigns would be the scariest dude in the roster to be hanging on to the contract. That would be...
Oh, yeah.
He could beat... I mean, just from the way that he's been built up and whatnot, Reigns could beat anybody straight up in a normal match, let alone him coming out after the bell and picking up somebody like that, is handing him the title to give him that. And they didn't do it. And, it's just Bray Wyatt's character. Me, personally, I think the best thing they can do with this whole Bray Wyatt thing, and I am a huge Reigns fan, I'm going to admit that now. The best thing I can do with this Bray Wyatt feud, let Reigns come out, let Bray Wyatt do something that pisses off Reigns to something we've never seen him pissed off for before, just something that completely just throws Reigns into some kind of psychotic rage. Let Reigns go out at the pay-per-view or whenever they fight or whatever and beat the crap out of Wyatt. And I just mean steamroll, flatten him, toss him aside, let Wyatt take an injury, quotation marks, whatever. Send Wyatt away for a little while and let him come back and be scary and be something and win things and get an Intercontinental Championship and do whatever for a while. But Wyatt is such a rolled up and used out wad at this point that just holds people over like he's doing now with Reigns. And he will lose to Reigns. I can almost guarantee you that at the next anything that they fight, he will lose to Reigns.
Yeah.
And then he's holding him over. So I think Wyatt needs a change of something to come back and actually be something again. And just for the love of God, let Reigns fight for the title already.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. Especially in terms of Reigns. I mean, something might have just been done that we might talk about a little bit later with Reigns and changing the dynamic of him with Wyatt, doing something like you just said. But as you said, with Reigns kind of being put off to the side, being put into useless matches and feuds, I completely agree. And that's WWE in a nutshell right now. Everything is padding and filler up until Lesnar comes back.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to let you take the reins on this next one. Big Show versus Ryback. And then, yeah.
Well, the next matchup was Big Show versus Ryback. And to be honest, I really couldn't care less. I mean, anytime Big Show comes out, I just do not care. He's kind of changed the channel. And since I was watching the network, it was more like change the tab on my browser to something more entertaining than paint drying, you know what I mean? Him fighting Ryback again, I mean, I just thought it was weird that Ryback won, and this kind of goes to Sheamus winning the Money in the Bank as confusing, because for me, I thought that Sheamus for sure would have won the Intercontinental Championship since he came back the way he did, and he kind of has repackaged a little bit, but with Ryback winning, it just kind of seems weird, and then you had Daniel Bryan holding up his hand, and I don't understand what they're doing with Ryback with this title, and I don't understand why the first thing they do is stick him in a feud with Big Show, who nobody wants to see, and people have wanted to see him retire years ago.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Roman Reigns. Like, they put Roman Reigns in a feud with the Big Show, and it's just like, nobody wants to see this guy anymore.
It feels like, whoever you put, it almost felt like they were trying to make Roman Reigns boring, and that's not what they were doing. They were trying to make same thing they're doing with Ryback. They're trying to make them look stronger. But the way that this match in particular went was Ryback and Big Show almost didn't really get to have a match. Big Show landed a good KO punch, knocked Ryback out of the ring, but Miz was there.
Yeah.
And Miz decided to interfere with the match. And that kind of has an angle, right? Like, Ryback won, technically. He's not happy with it, but he got to hang on to the title because Miz interfered. Now you have right now, at least including the following night on Raw, this weird triangle of Ryback, Miz, and Big Show. And you don't really know, people want to cheer for Ryback, yeah, but Miz hits Big Show on Money in the Bank and gets disqualified. Big Show wins the match, but Ryback keeps the title because disqualification. Then Monday night, I believe Big Show and Miz had a thing going on, and then Miz slipped out of the ring, and he went to go run away right after winning the match, I believe. He won via countout. He slips out of the ring. He goes to run away. Well, Ryback, who you think, he obviously has reasons to be upset at the Big Show, especially since Survivor Series, but who you think they're kind of on the, he's like, okay, you kind of deserve a rematch sort of thing. Ryback gets in the ring and almost attacks Big Show from behind, blindside. Big Show rolls out of the ring. It's a weird triangle right now. I think the reason they're doing it, if I have a guess, it's because they want Miz and Ryback to feud, but they don't want Ryback to seem weaker or on the same level as The Miz. I think they're trying to make Ryback scary like he was when he first showed up at the WWE again. And I don't know, but it's a weird little thing with the Intercontinental title right now. I will say I'm kind of glad the Intercontinental Championship is on Ryback. I wish there were other guys like Ziggler or Bryan if he was back going for it. But Ryback having isn't the worst thing, but what they're doing right now, I don't know. Hopefully they get that straightened out.
It's just really weird because the fact that Ryback steamrolled through Miz during his initial rise to the top before he fought Punk and then everything fell off for him. He steamrolled him. So putting him in a feud with The Miz, right now, doesn't make any sense. In my eyes, it just kind of makes him look weak. And in my opinion, I don't really know about what casual fans think about Big Show these days, but I think that just all of his years of jobbing to different people and being booked so completely inconsistency for me means that anytime he's put into a feud with anyone, he really just doesn't get over. I mean, nobody gets over by beating him because it's just oh, it's Big Show. Nobody cares. So I just don't understand what they're doing, but I definitely think it's a good way to keep Ryback kind of keep him consistent and keep him actually relevant right now by giving him a title. And strangely, it's his first title.
Yeah, he had that run where he went straight to the top, and then he never actually got it, and then him and Ryback. So did they ever get the tag titles? I don't think so.
I think they might have had it for a month.
Maybe
but,
briefly, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like, I mean, we can't even remember, so clearly it did nothing for him.
It wasn't super important. I don't know. I like the idea of Ryback being a scary, something to reckon with. I would hope to see something like Ryback and Rusev in the future. Like, I know that they kind of teased that for a while before SummerSlam and never did it, but something like that, it's got potential. But yeah, personally, I think they should take Kane and the Big Show and either just ditch them right now or throw them into the tag division because it needs it right now. But I'll talk more about that later when we actually get to the tag match. All right, so the next match on the list is the John Cena versus Kevin Owens follow-up match because of the last pay-per-view. Was it Elimination Chamber?
Yes.
John Cena and Kevin Owens had their feud. Kevin Owens being the NXT champion. He's got the little kitty title. He comes out. He beats John Cena right off the bat, which was good. I thought that they had a really good match at Chamber.
I thought it was excellent.
I think even ending excluded, how the match finished, 2-1, whatever excluded, I thought their match at Money in the Bank was not nearly as good. If I could name the match, I would name it 1-2 all, because it was every move at one point in this match. Somebody would hit every single move. Pin, 1-2, he kicked out. Pin, 1-2, AA, 1-2,
Yeah.
pop-up power bomb, and it was just... And then, of course, to spoil the ending, John Cena never gives up, and he beat Kevin Owens, which, again, I did not like. You give your thoughts on this first?
No, I knew the second that John Cena lost to Kevin Owens, John Cena was going to get his win back, because this is typical WWE, especially with John Cena. He's not going to get beat 2 pay-per-views in a row, even if it hurts his opponent. And their last match was definitely a lot better, in my opinion. It just kind of seemed weird that this match kind of slowed down halfway through after Kevin Owens did that senton onto John Cena's knees. And I kind of thought that maybe they were doing the whole face comeback with Owens, because for a little bit it almost seemed like Cena was playing the heel in their match, because he kept getting in the referee's face.
He was mad at the ref. That was weird, yeah.
Yeah, I almost thought that maybe Owens was gonna win, and they were gonna put that into some kind of angle, but in the end, it didn't end up happening. I thought the ending was super abrupt as well. The second that he got in Cena's face, it was telling him to give up. I knew that he was going to lose, just because every time they make it about Cena and in Cena's, never give up attitude, he always wins. I mean, it always becomes predictable, but, immediately John Cena just hits him with the AA and it's over. It's just, Owens kicked out of a lot more in their last match, so it just seemed like they just rushed the finish out of nowhere.
And this is the other thing that, as wrestling as a whole, I think has to take a hit for some of the stuff John Cena is doing. And they're trying to make Kevin Owens look big, and they're trying to make John Cena look never give up and as big as he's always been. But when they threw John Cena to the mid-card, making him compete for the U.S. title, I thought it was a really good thing. I thought it gives him a good opportunity to show off some other people. Now, he did spend half that time fighting with Rusev or whatever, but the open challenge would let guys like Ambrose and Ziggler and whoever come out and show themselves, Neville come out, show themselves off, maybe some guys who need some more spotlight, and putting anybody next to John Cena is going to give him that spotlight. But I would also hope his match style would change, because it seems to me like John Cena hasn't figured out he's not the main event anymore. But in the matches that they're having, Cena is still throwing, even for Kevin Owens, who they're trying to make look scary, throwing 2-3 AAs, Kevin Owens is kicking out of all of them. Kevin Owens is landing 2 or 3 pop-up power bombs, and John Cena is just John Cena shoulder up and out of all of them. And you would hope that the 2 or 3 AAs or pop-up power bombs that Cena and Owens kicked out of, you could argue for the most part Dean Ambrose may not have kicked out of those. We've seen Dean Ambrose not kick out of those in Ambrose and Cena's U.S. Open Challenge. So why is Ambrose and Rollins being in the main event, why are they not as good as Cena and Owens? Why does Owens, the NXT champion, look like one of the scariest dudes in the WWE right now? That shouldn't be how it is, and I don't know. So that was something that just kind of personally bothered me. But yeah, that whole 1-2 kick out thing, I would have liked to have seen Owens walk away with it. I think a lot of people would have, not just for hate for John Cena, but because it's the same thing every time with him, and it has been for the last 10 years. John Cena doesn't lose. He kicks out always, no matter what. If he does lose, he will win.
He gets his win back.
He will win regardless of how many rematches it takes. He will come back and win, and that's a part of the never give up thing. But it just, at one point in time, it would be nice to see it stop being predictable. For example, Brock Lesnar versus Cena at SummerSlam was something I thoroughly enjoyed. But then
with Brock Lesnar and John Cena, they kept having the matches over and over, and Brock Lesnar was beaten by John Cena essentially until, Seth Rollins came in and interfered in their match?
Yeah.
So it's just that it's always the same thing with John Cena. And let's be honest, what is John Cena going to lose if he loses 2 matches in a row? What does he need to be protected for? He's a 15-time WWE champion. Like, what's the point?
Nothing bad really happens to him if Owens gets this win, right?
Right.
Also, shout out to Owens for becoming one of my top 5 wrestlers right now. When he came out and pop-up powerbomb Machine Gun Kelly on Raw the other night. That was Machine Gun Kelly comes out and he sings this song about love for like 10 minutes or whatever, and like love and the world needs more love. And then when Owens comes out to tell him good job, Machine Gun Kelly pushes him, so he gets powerbombed off the side. I love that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Owens did what everyone in that arena hoped somebody would do. I mean, get this guy off the freaking TV.
Yeah. I'm hoping, for me personally, Owens loses the kitty title soon, because there was some Cena wanted the champion versus champion match, the U.S. title versus the NXT title, and that was like, what is Cena going to do with the NXT title? So I'm hoping Owens drops the kitty title and just gets welcomed to the WWE roster full time. Let him go for Intercontinental. Let him go for U.S. title. Let him do something cool.
Yeah, I think the only person who's going to beat Owens for that championship right now is Samoa Joe. And kind of Samoa Joe being in the company right now is something that's actually really exciting, because it seems like they're actually making him seem legit at this point in time. And the second that guy walked into the company, he started to draw. Like, they immediately had to offer him a full-time contract, because the dude sold so much merchandise. So I could see him, like, just taking that title off of Owens and then becoming, like, this ultimate badass. But I guess that's also we also have to wait to see if that's going to happen.
My guess, if it isn't, I think Samoa Joe would be the cool angle. I think that would be probably the best angle to go with it. Make Samoa Joe somehow look scarier than Owens right now. That would be really cool. What I think is going to happen is that since he powerbombed Machine Gun Kelly off the side, the WWE told him there would be repercussions, and I don't think he's going to get suspended. I think he's going to have to lose his NXT title, and that'll be one way for him to get stripped. But that's not really a bad thing, because, like, yeah, why are you hanging on to the minor league title when you're playing in the majors? I mean, that's almost like chaining him down for me. But that just might be the way I think.
I doubt that Owens' character would actually want the U.S. title now, though, just because the fact that he's kind of done the Shane Douglas and ECW thing, where he's stepping on the United States Championship and saying my NXT title's better, kind of like when Shane Douglas chucked down the NWA Championship, said their company was dead, and took the ECW one from Paul Heyman. Like, it definitely seems like it's kind of going more that disrespect route, but at the end of the day, I do feel like, he's going to do a lot better in WWE than NXT, no matter how awesome NXT is, because one's on TV, one allows you to headline pay-per-views, and the other one's on the network.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Moving on to the next match. This is the tag match we were talking about earlier. We had the Primetime Players versus the New Day. Now, do the New Day have the same tag champions every time, or do they like alternate who's wrestling?
Yeah, they have Freebird rules, so they can alternate whoever actually holds the championship. Like, that was, I guess that they actually established that by having Kane say, "Oh yeah, you could do that." I was kind of surprised. I guess we'll get into that in a little bit after when we discuss this match. But I was surprised that they had Kofi in the Money in the Bank instead of, say, Big E. But yeah, they tend to alternate.
Yeah, okay. I had to make sure about that, because I had seen some of them win it, and then I thought a different one had it after that, and I know there was some trickery between who was pinning who and things like that sometimes, where they would put in Xavier to pretend to be Kofi or vice versa or whatever. But I'm not going to lie. I've seen enough New Day matches. I am glad the Primetime Players are back. I don't know where they went for a while, but I'm glad the Primetime Players are back. But I was behind on the network, and I skipped most of this match and just kind of saw the ending. So if you want to tell the people what you thought about this one.
To be honest, both of these teams seem to be over. Like, Primetime Players seems to be getting really over these days, because, that would make sense as to why the finish of this match happened. And to tell everyone what happened, Primetime Players actually ended up getting a win over the New Day, which I was very surprised at, because I thought for sure WWE was going to continue to have this New Day faction kind of hold those titles, considering, just kind of how their dynamic works and how over they are. But Primetime Players was really over in that tag team elimination chamber, and especially after that thing with Titus O'Neil, with him winning the best celebrity dad thing, I kind of feel like they're trying to push them. And I've always been a big fan of Titus O'Neil. I always kind of hated how WWE was misusing him. So, him being pushed and him getting more time on the air and actually winning is something that I'm pretty happy about.
I like Titus. I like Darren Young. I can't necessarily say the same for New Day. I kind of gave my thoughts on Kofi earlier. They're kind of iffy to me, but it's cool to see now that they're back and Luke Harper and Eric Rowan are back. It's cool to see kind of like, even if it's not the most exciting thing we've seen, some life being breathed back in to the tag division. Where are the Usos right now? Does anybody know that?
I think that Jimmy Uso is sidelined with like an ACL tear. He's sidelined with some kind of injury. So I think that they're just keeping both of them off TV for right now until he heals and they can bring him back. But honestly, like, I liked the Usos as a tag team, but like they're kind of boring by contrast compared to some of these guys. So like, I don't really want to see another kind of demolition length title run for them holding the championships for like 6 months plus. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, but when you had the breakups like Miz and Mizdow had their little breakup. Goldust and Stardust had their thing where they weren't in the tag division anymore. And all of a sudden, the tag division was extremely lackluster. So to see the Primetime Players back, to see Harper and Rowan back, is a good thing. And I hope that, like I said, I kind of hope Big Show and Kane, since they're both kind of useless, if they don't retire, I would think it would almost be okay for them to team up. And I know they've kind of done something like this before in the past, but just because the tag division needs it to get another couple names in there, they don't have to win a title. I would actually prefer they didn't win the titles, but throw Kane and Big Show in some kind of tag division thing or something like that, or make J&J go out there and actually think they're good since they beat Seth Rollins that one night. Put them in the tag division and things like that. I think that would be breathing life into it would be something. Also,
I think another new tag team could actually be, speaking of Wyatt from earlier, I think what they should really do with Wyatt, and they should actually do this with his brother as well, I think that they should take him and Bo Dallas and admit both of them are brothers and have him be like the dark kind of cult leader and Bo Dallas be the happy kind of cult leader and put them together as a tag team, kind of like the Brothers of Destruction, kind of subverted. And one of them is trying to get all these happy people together and one of them is trying to get all these gothic people together and trying to have that dynamic flow. I think that could be a really fun tag team and maybe help spice up the tag division even more.
I think it would take a lot to pull it off, but I think they could do it. That would be really interesting. One thing I do want to point out is that there was a little Twitter feud, and I'm getting this from Bleacher Report WWE. After Luke Harper and Eric Rowan showed off their new move on Monday Night Raw, they call it the Way. It's essentially a 3D from the Dudley Boys done incorrectly. He catches him on the wrong side. His head lands on his shoulder. There's something not right about it, but yeah. Bubba Ray Dudley tweeted out, "Dear at WWE, if you wanted the Dudley Death Drop hit the right way, it should be, or hit the way it should be. Excuse me. If you wanted the Dudley Death Drop hit the way it should be, you should have had the balls to call us, #Raw in New Orleans," to which Luke Harper replied to Bubba Ray and Devon, said, "Anytime, anywhere, we would enjoy showing you the way," which it teases the idea, and why would Bubba do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If there wasn't
they could definitely
reason,
be working.
It would be really cool if, let's just say, Harper and Rowan, they don't even have to go on a run for that, man. They don't even need the titles. I was going to say if they go on a run, get the titles. They don't need that. But what if the Dudley Boys just come out of nowhere one week and make the tag division worth really watching again? That would be something. It's a cool idea to tease. A little bit of a Twitter drama. I just thought I would tell you guys about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good idea, too. I mean, we saw Bubba actually come back during the Royal Rumble, so for all we know, they kind of established more ties again. Maybe the Dudley Boys can come back for a little short period of time. I mean, it'd be fun to see them back, maybe having a feud with these the Harper and Rowan team. And, I mean, everything in wrestling seems to be a work these days, even Twitter, so you never know.
I think it would be worth it, and to me, it would once again, because I've lost interest in the tag division almost as much as I've lost interest in the Divas division right now. It's that bad, and the sad thing is, I know there's talent in the tag division. It's just there's no real reason for me to watch it. I skip to the end, I watch the finish, see how it was, and that's the tag division for me anymore these days. But speaking of Divas, I am going to touch up on the Divas match. I don't know where exactly in the card the Divas match was. It was somewhere around Owens and Cena. But I did want to address that a little bit because there's a couple things about the Divas match that cheesed me off. Do you want to talk about the opening that kind of upset you a bit?
Yeah. Well, before this match actually happened, Paige was backstage, and she was emotional, of course, as all of them were, because they had their tribute to Dusty at the beginning of the show. And Paige was giving a promo, a kind of interview with Renee Young, and she went and said that she was dedicating this coming match to Dusty Rhodes. Now, the fact of the matter is, if we skip to the end of this match, this is the reason why I'm very annoyed at this. You don't dedicate a match to someone who's just died and you had a tribute to unless you're going to win the match.
Especially that kind of legend.
Yeah, and as we know, Paige didn't win the match. Even though Nikki and Brie cheated for their victory, to come about and for them to keep the title. The fact of the matter is Paige still lost. So I just thought it was incredibly bad taste. And if you're going to have her lose, don't let her do that.
Yeah. And it's the more things about the match. Number one, that I believe that was the longest match for the Divas title since it started. So they were able to go some length, or more length than anybody's ever gone for the Divas title, not the women's.
Yeah.
Since that came out. So I mean that's saying something. I do not in any way, shape, or form want Nikki's run, unless it has been already, which I don't think it has. I do not want Nikki's run with the Divas title to be longer than AJ's, but I'm willing to bet that's the first thing they're going to do, since they're pissed off at Punk and probably AJ now and whatnot, is they're going to erase AJ's record as fast as they possibly can.
Absolutely.
That's my guess as to why Nikki's still hanging on to the title for some unknown reason.
Well, I kind of feel like there's another reason. You know what I mean? She's with John Cena, too. I mean, there's no reason that they're going to push this girl who I cannot stand, like, for that championship for so long unless, she's really good at wrestling moves, so to speak. You know what I mean? She's got some really good techniques that she tries on Cena when they're training. So
here's the thing, I don't hate Nikki as a diva, as a wrestler. I don't hate the Bella Twins as divas or wrestlers. I really like Paige. I really liked AJ when she was around. I don't hate Nikki or Brie for that matter. I think they could provide decently entertaining matches. I think they're doing all right. I think the divas division needs more diversity than, maybe give them more than one match a night, you know what I mean? You have 3 freaking hours. Maybe give the divas more than one match a night. That way you can actually include divas. Bring up Bayley's doing wonders in NXT, but I'm willing to bet some of the divas in NXT don't want to come to WWE because that's where they just go to sit. There's no division. If you want Divas matches, there are actually good Divas matches happening in NXT right now. If you guys don't know that, if you guys can check out NXT, you have the network, you find out when it's on, whatever. There's actually...
Yeah, Sasha Banks is amazing.
Yeah, and there's actually a little bit of variety down there, too. But what I don't like about Nikki and Brie right now is, number one, she just had it for way too damn long. Stop teasing it with Paige and just let, I don't know, I really like Paige. I just want Paige to have it. That's my first... But secondly, it's how they won. So they won 1 week they did the twin switch, right?
Yep.
I don't remember who they were wrestling the first time. It was probably Paige. But
I think it was Naomi.
Naomi? All right. They were about to Naomi was about to beat Nikki, and then Nikki rolls out of the ring. Brie, dressed up as Nikki, because they're twins and shit, rolls into the ring, rolls up Naomi, surprises Naomi. Naomi didn't know what's happening. She gets pinned 1, 2, 3 by Brie real quick. Well, the referee didn't see it, so he thinks Nikki pinned Naomi, and then Nikki gets to keep the title. Bella Twins win. Yeah. So they do the exact same thing to Paige. Paige pretty much has the match won. Nikki rolls out of the ring. Brie comes in. Brie rolls Paige up. Paige out-wrestles, out-wits, whatever you want to call it, figures it out, rolls Brie over. Paige gets the win. Paige beat the Bella Twins switch. Paige beat the Bella Twins. Brie gets pinned 1, 2, 3. Referee rings the bell. Well, then he sees that it's Brie and that it's not Nikki. So they reversed the decision. Number one, it should have been disqualified right there. Yep. Paige wins, but Nikki gets to keep the title. Regardless, it didn't really change the outcome because Paige didn't see it coming. She was trying to figure out what happened. Nikki blindsides her with the bullhammer that she does and then hits the rack attack. The match is over. And what cheeses me off about this so much, what makes me upset about how that went as a whole, is you cannot, as long as they keep doing this stupid twin switch thing until there's some kind of stipulation that prevents them from doing that, they are legitimately cheating wrestling 100% in that they cannot lose when they do the twin switch. If they do the twin switch and they get the pin, ref doesn't see it. If Brie gets the pin, ref doesn't see it. Brie gets the win, Nikki keeps the title. If they do it and the ref does figure it out, or if it gets turned around and Brie gets pinned, Brie doesn't really get pinned because she's not Nikki. And then they still, that made me so mad. Once they did it a second time, got caught the second time, and still won. That just upset me a bit.
Yeah, another thing is I kind of feel that this is all really insulting our intelligence, too, because let's be honest now, Brie and Nikki don't look the same anymore. Nikki has a lot more weight on her, and she also has implants, to be blunt about it.
Brie had stuff herself, remember?
But her hair is even colored, differently. Brie's hair is a lot more darker, whereas Nikki's isn't. You can absolutely tell the difference between the two when you look at them. And it's just, they keep doing this even though they look pretty different. It's almost like it's an inside joke at this point when they keep doing that. But on top of that, the thing that really annoys me the most is that it seemed like for the longest period of time, for no reason, the Bellas ended up becoming faces, and nobody really likes them because like they can always see straight through their fake acting and their personalities to see like the total divas Bellas, that they're clearly like total heels, and then they try and have them do this twin magic, and then like come Raw, they're making Paige seem like she's a heel again. They're making people seem like they don't care about Paige and that she's just worthless, and she's trying to get other people to stand up against the Bellas, and they're just making her seem like she's a heel. Like WWE's like their logic in this situation just like really insults my intelligence.
Yeah, and I don't know. To me, Paige still looks face. The Bella Twins, I see what you meant. Like they were face for a while for some reason, but now they're chummy with Stephanie McMahon again and things like that. And I feel like Paige has to be the face in the situation, just given that like they're straight up cheating to win and they're not beating anybody bad. Paige doesn't look. I think they're more of trying to give Paige the victim card. She's trying to rally everyone up and finally beat the Bella Twins, and she's the victim because nobody likes her anymore because she has done bad things in the past. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I am done talking about the divas for the evening. That is about all the divas I can take. All right, so we get to the championship match: Rollins versus Ambrose, ladder match, where we see 10 times more awesome ladder match action than we did in the opening match, the Money in the Bank match, by the way. I'm going to point that out. Rollins and Ambrose, by themselves, did way more than all 7 men in the previous match did. But what did you think? What did you think of the match?
Honestly, I think that my opinion might be a little bit contrary to a lot of people. I thought this match went on way too long. Like, this match was like 45 minutes long. I don't even think it needed to be half that. I mean, there was a lot of great spots, like there was drama in the match for sure, but never once during the match did I think that Ambrose was going to win, because I know that everything with this championship picture right now is just padding until Lesnar comes
Especially
back.
After Reigns lost.
Yeah, so there was no doubt in my mind that Ambrose was going to lose. So, like, that seriously hurt the match, in my opinion. So the entire time I'm watching the match, even when they have these really cool moments, like when Ambrose was powerbombed onto the ladder, when they were doing all this other stuff, I was just like, okay, let's get it over with. I already know what's going to happen. Like, we already know that Seth Rollins is going to win. And then the finish for me, for example, I didn't like. Like, they both grab the championship and they both fall, but Ambrose lets go at the last second. Like, I don't know. I just, like, this match for me, I thought that there was some good stuff in it. I just thought, it could have been done way faster, and it just killed it for me. Like, if for some reason Ambrose won the match, and then they try and give Seth Rollins the title back immediately by screwing over Ambrose, but
then they'd kind of be repeating what they'd done already for the most part.
Yeah, I just could not make myself care about what was going on because I already knew the outcome.
I personally, I enjoyed it. It took a little while for them to get the ball rolling, but knowing in my head there is a 95+% chance that Rollins walks out here the champion, because they're not doing anything with it. They're not letting anybody else hold the title till Lesnar gets back, and we know this. I still enjoyed it. They had a lot of really good spots, and they had a lot of, there were tables, there were ladders, there was chaos and everything going on. I think for just kind of something that might have been a little bit of a change, and this, it could be bad for Ambrose if it ends this way, so I see why they didn't end it this way. After Rollins had gotten insane and gone angry and thrown Ambrose, powerbombed him into the barricade a few different times, then buried him with the ladder, chairs, everything.
Yeah.
I would have been okay, as a guy who likes Ambrose and would like to see him win the title, I would have been okay if Ambrose hadn't got up and Rollins had just climbed and gotten to the top and grabbed the title himself and been like, I did it, I can do it, I'm out here alone. Because the one good thing that came out of all of Money in the Bank, I don't think I've said this on recording yet, nobody who I wanted to win Money in the Bank won Money in the Bank. Like Ryback, kind of whatever, who gives a damn. But nobody I wanted to win Money in the Bank won Money in the Bank at all. So I was kind of upset at it as a whole already, but I think if one good thing comes out of this Money in the Bank is that especially from the way Raw went, we can kind of guess that J&J Security and Kane and Rollins will not be out there getting help. He's been getting help 100% of the time since WrestleMania. And I think for a while that was a good work for him, but I think after a little while, it was almost chaining him down, because then everyone thinks Rollins can't do it on his own, which is kind of the heel idea. But Rollins is he's good enough on the mic, he's a good enough wrestler to be out there on his own, making people think, showing people how good he really is. And I think they were kind of weighing him down that he always had to have help for everything. That being said, he doesn't really get a long time to show that off, because who comes back on Monday Night Raw finally But Lesnar, which I honestly didn't expect, having just put Reigns in a feud. But do you have any thoughts on Lesnar's return?
I mean, I definitely see it as a positive, just because of the fact that now they can finally start doing something that actually matters in the company, rather than just keep waiting until this dude comes back. I didn't expect him to come back on Raw at all. Like, there had been rumors that he was going to come back and they were going to try and do something with him at Battleground. But, like, I thought for sure they were going to try and save him for SummerSlam. Like, sometimes the dirt sheets, you got to take them with a grain of salt. But in this case, I guess they were on the money. Like, in terms of Lesnar coming back, like, in my mind, there's no way he's not going to win the championship.
Unless they did, like, a surprise screw job where all of a sudden at the last second, like, let's just say they're having a no DQ match or something, all of a sudden the last second J&J and Kane all come out and start trying to gang up on Lesnar and Rollins get some kind of insane roll-up. With how they built Lesnar up and how big Lesnar is right now, I think you're right. And as a matter of fact, I hope you're right. This is what I hope happens for the future, because just where the company is right now and how long they've been waiting to do things since Lesnar left initially, since Lesnar got suspended. I hope Lesnar beats Rollins, however he does it, dismantles him, John Cena's him. Maybe there's some kind of stipulation. Maybe Kane and J&J do show back up, but sorry, that's my bird. Maybe Kane and J&J do show back up, but Lesnar fights through that. He puts Kane down. He puts J&J down. He beats Rollins.
Oh, yeah.
It goes through all that. Just makes himself look like Brock Lesnar, who he is. Then on the other hand, I would also like to see Roman Reigns, like I said earlier, completely steamroll Bray Wyatt, get pissed off. We've never seen Roman Reigns straight pissed off before. Maybe that's what he needs. Just destroy Bray Wyatt in every way, shape, and form, almost like a John Cena, Brock Lesnar, but with more emotion involved. And then have Reigns be the guy. Have Reigns be the one guy to stand up to Lesnar. Have the Mania match happen the way it should have, except now people like him. People like Reigns right now. They were still upset about the Royal Rumble before. They didn't like him at Mania. And I think you have a really big, well-built-up thing. I think you would have to do something to make people dislike Lesnar before you do that. Because as of right now, nobody has a reason to not like Lesnar. He's back and he's about to take on Rollins, who's this little shit who's been running around barely scraping by since he got it at Mania. And I think that's where you go from there. But do you have any final thoughts?
Yes, I definitely agree with what you're saying. I think that Reigns is probably going to turn out that way, and he's going to just destroy Wyatt by getting pissed off. Because as we saw earlier in the night, there was a promo with Wyatt where he actually took out a picture of Roman Reigns with his daughter and was doing kind of overtures towards that, like he's going to go after Roman Reigns' family now. And you could just see Roman Reigns' face at that point. All the audience was absolutely on his side because they were shocked just as much as he was. I cannot see him not just snapping and taking out Wyatt at this point. And I think that Roman Reigns is one of the only three guys I could see actually pinning Lesnar. Because I don't think there's any way in hell, even with a roll-up, Rollins is going to beat Lesnar. Like, I think the only way he's going to win or keep his championship during Battleground is through DQ or countout or something along those lines. I just don't see anything actually beating Lesnar. I mean, even at WrestleMania, he didn't get pinned. It was Roman who did. But, like, I can only see three guys that can stand a chance against Lesnar and beat him at the next WrestleMania. And those would have to be... One would probably have to be Roman Reigns. Absolutely, number one. Number two, and a lot of people are going back and forth about whether or not this is actually going to happen, but a lot of people think that Steve Austin might come back and fight him at the next WrestleMania.
That Paul Heyman, Stone Cold, that podcast. He talked about it.
Like, yeah, they've been teasing this for a little while now, because there was another podcast with Stone Cold well before this, when Heyman actually came on and was talking about, maybe we should do a match between you and Lesnar. And then Austin turned off the recording for like 40 minutes, he says. And then, like, when Austin came back, he seemed kind of giddy. So I know Austin is an amazing guy on the mic, and he's great at working people. I think it's definitely possible. I mean, with Austin, it's been so long that we really never know. But I could see him possibly beating Brock just so that they could do a Rock versus Cena kind of thing, where, Brock gets his win back next year after that.
If Stone Cold comes back and beats Brock Lesnar, I think we have to see another Rock Stone Cold.
Yeah.
That would be I'm too excited now. Anyways, who's the third person you got?
The third person is, it's a tie for me. I think that Steen is kind of the dark horse, Kevin Owens. I think that if they build him right, maybe he could just be this ultimate badass who actually goes face to face with Lesnar and stands a chance against him, either him or Samoa Joe. I think one of them is like a really kind of big dark horse in this kind of situation, because Samoa Joe, you know, he comes in, he draws a lot. They gave him a full-time contract that he can go to the main roster with. I mean, if they push him like they pushed him in TNA, like in 2005, as this unstoppable badass who cannot be beaten, because Samoa Joe is the only person in the history of TNA who really truly drew a dime for that company. Because during his period of time when he was at the top, TNA was making money. That's the only time in their history when they were making money. So I could see him really, you know, I know a lot of people for years thought that ship has sailed, but if WWE builds him up a lot, and, you know, this is something else, but for all we know, TNA is not going to be around much longer, especially with Ring of Honor now going on Destination America. But like if they buy out that library and they put it behind Samoa Joe and show just how much of a badass he is, I could see him taking on Lesnar at some point.
Goldberg is way to the top, and then they have Fight of the Ages. I could see that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us here today. Went on a little bit longer than I thought, but that's kind of what you can expect when, I ramble on long enough by myself, and I brought a guest in today. So, guys, this is this is Mike from Laughing Stock Media. His channel will be in the description down below. You do WWE, you do Dragon Ball Z, things like that, just different videos on various topics and whatnot.
Yep.
And his channel will be down below. I do have another video with him from the past if you want to try to dig that up on his channel, where we just more wrestling chat. I think it was post WrestleMania stuff. If you guys want to hear anything more from us,
Hold Counter Hold, and it was about who we thought personally should be the WWE champion at that time.
There you go. So if you can find that, whatever, just go subscribe to him for more wrestling things like that. I know I don't do a lot of wrestling here unless a pay-per-view comes up, so he can kind of be your filler in between guy if you're earning for more. But that's gonna wrap it up for us here today. I am Thundershot. I've been here with Mike from Laughing Stock Media, and we are out.
All right, see you guys.
Peace.